But today we are going for a little drive, having some fun, and talking Tesla.
You better turn up. You better be there when I shake. Watch me rocking if I can't stop. If I should fall, just go ahead. Go and catch me, baby. Ooh, I live it. That's my true.
Hey guys, Kim here with Like Tesla, and you might notice I have some extra friends in my car today. So right here we have Ashley, Renne, and we have Alexi from Owing a Tesla in the City, and check out the description because I'll go ahead and link to their channels. But today we are going for a little drive, having some fun, and talking Tesla. First off, what kind of Teslas do you guys own?
So I have the Tesla Model S 75D, and I've had it for about a year and a half now.
And what about you, Alexi?
I have a first production Model 3. It's the long range, it's the rear wheel drive, and it's a perfect size for being in the city.
Cool. So what really got you guys both into Tesla?
I started out as a travel blogger, and I went to Bali, and I noticed the giant litter problem that was over there, and it just made me super passionate about eco-friendly living. And so I decided that I would be an example and do everything I could to live a more sustainable life, and part of that meant investing in an electric car. And so that's how we got to researching Tesla, and my husband is a big Tesla fan, and so we just decided that that was the decision that we were going to make, and we got a Tesla.
My aunt and uncle got me hooked on Tesla pretty early on. About 2011, they took me to one of the Seattle showroom locations, and they only had a Roadster in the showroom, but we got to sit in it, and they put down a deposit that day for a Model S. And a year and a half later, they took delivery, and they have been obsessed. And then my dad got obsessed as well, and now the whole family's obsessed, and it is just so much fun spreading.
They still have that original Model S then?
Yeah, they still have the original Model S, and then a couple months ago they added a second Model S to their lineup because they kept fighting over who would get to drive the original Model S. And now their second one has autopilot and is great for road trips and things like that.
Yeah, I think that's like a big difference is now that autopilot's been added in. A lot of people that were early adopters really want to experience that and have it for road trips. As you know, because how far did you have to drive to come here to Atlanta to film with us today?
Yesterday I did my personal record road trip. It was 640 miles in one day, and more than half of it was raining and part of it was dark. And autopilot just made it so much easier. It was almost all interstate, so I used almost all autopilot, and I felt pretty rested the whole time.
You've done across country though.
I did. So we were a little bit crazy. We decided that we were going to go all the way from Atlanta to Los Angeles. So it was 5,000 miles there and back, so 2,500 miles.
And you did that in
a
a 75D.
Did that in a 75D. We stopped, I think, a total of, was it 19 times? It was a lot.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing experience though. And then we even stopped in Joshua Tree National Park on the way back, and we camped out in our Tesla, and that was an incredible experience to actually test out the camper mode.
Okay.
And it's funny, somebody left a comment on my video and said, oh well, if you own a Tesla, you shouldn't be sleeping in your car. That's actually false. If you're an adventurous person and you like to camp out and go out on adventures, then camping in your Tesla is absolutely an amazing idea.
That is something I still want to do. I haven't done it yet because I'm not sure how it would work with the boys.
Yeah.
But they might love it.
I think they would, honestly.
So,
it's fun. It's like a big sleepover.
Did you do the mattress in the back?
Yeah, we bought a queen size air mattress. Yep, queen size, and we blew it up in the car, and it fit both me and my husband. And
That's amazing.
And what was so ironic is like we pulled up next to some Boy Scouts, and they were out there building their tents and building their fires, and then we're like, all right, well, good night, guys. And we just went to our car and went to sleep.
That is like so fun. And you have the whole thing documented on your channel. You've made a video on it, which make sure you go check both of them out. Really fun videos, and Ashley has an insane Instagram account, so go check that out. Beautiful photos. Every time anytime there's a Tesla event, it's like at a time where I can't go.
I know, same.
So it's like impossible.
Okay,
but
but March is gonna happen.
March is gonna happen. Model Y. My birthday's in March, so
Mine
maybe
too.
it will happen. Oh,
Oh,
Aries?
Are you Pisces?
oh, you're
I'm
Pisces. You're beginning of Aries.
Okay.
We're close.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll be out there for our birthdays.
I know, our birthday wishes will come true.
So that would be really cool.
That would be cool. We can go together.
I want you to share too about your wedding, because you had like kind of a Tesla.
Oh,
themed
I did sort of have some Tesla elements in my wedding. Yeah, so I mean, we had a very low-key wedding. So I had a Tesla Roadster, the miniature toy version, as my cake topper, and I made it look a little bit like the payload in the Falcon Heavy, which had gone up like 10 days before the wedding, the launch had been. So that was really fun to be able to have that on top of the cake.
And your husband just goes along with the Tesla obsession.
Yeah, he just goes along with it.
He's
a trooper.
Does he like it too?
Yeah.
Has he got the bug?
He likes it. He doesn't have the crazy viral thing that I have going on, like just obsessed with Tesla. He thinks the car drives nicely and he loves that it's quiet.
There's usually, I will say my husband's the one that first got me into it as well. Like he first kind of like was like really obsessed. Like I liked it, but he was really obsessed.
Yeah.
And then he talked about it nonstop, and then I was like, oh, this is really interesting, And then the more I started researching and listening, we always listened to Ryan Ride the Lightning, the podcast together. So like when we would do that together, it was kind of like our time together became Tesla time.
Yeah.
So it was something fun that we could do together, that we both shared that interest.
And that's how the best ideas spread, word of mouth, just naturally, and you just want to tell everyone you know about this cool new thing that you really like.
Yeah, I
So
love
true.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, Kim. I feel like Tesla actually brought my husband and I even closer, because we finally had like this one thing that we were both really passionate about and really into. Like for example, when I first started making travel videos, he wasn't really into my travel videos because he doesn't really care about travel. But when I made the decision to vlog about Tesla, he wanted to be involved in every video. So it was
That's
like
so
cool.
funny.
So it's like I found myself, having a partner in, my video productions, and it was fun.
Yeah. I will say that's because most of our videos I do, my husband helps me a lot with them. So that's become like, we'll get a babysitter and we'll be like, should we go out somewhere, go to a movie? Oh, no, let's make a video.
Yeah.
And that's like what we do for date night now. Like,
I love it.
It's like, I don't know if it's pathetic or if it's just like this like crazy passion that we both have.
Awesome.
Those are the best couples,
Yeah.
though, right?
And our kids are super into it too now. It's really funny. But you have to be careful with kids because they'll be like, you'll meet somebody and they'll be like, we have a Tesla. And you're like, no, don't say that.
Say that.
Yeah. And then Liam will be like, we're getting the Roadster. He'll like say that now to people. And I'm like,
We're rich.
yeah.
We got a roadster.
I'm like, which we're not paying for. So
Right, exactly.
thank you, all you guys
Yeah.
who made that happen. But yeah, it's always, you gotta be careful.
Actually, that's a really good topic, is these misconceptions about Tesla owners. People often think that we're like mad rich, and they're like, no, not necessarily. I've seen so many great videos of people addressing this topic about how, it is a matter of saving up the money. Like if you really want something bad enough, you don't necessarily have to be, super rich and wealthy in order to get a Tesla. That's actually a misconception.
I agree with that. I mean, for us, when we first got our first X, and we hadn't, planned on starting a YouTube channel or anything like that, but we shared a car for like a year and a half.
Oh, yeah.
To make it work so we could pay for that down payment on it. And then we really kind of budgeted. Our house, we sold our house in the city, moved out here to a house that was less expensive so we could use all that money, because we were so obsessed with getting our dream car that we just had to make that happen. And then we had, in Georgia, there was like great incentives with the Leaf, so we just like kept doing that. So for like 4 years we basically had zero car payment. And that's all that's how we got our first Model X right there. It was not like, I drove a Subaru before. I wasn't driving like high-end cars.
Tesla,
So yeah,
and I was never into high-end anything. Actually, Carl's like the fancy one in our relationship. I was perfectly happy like just leasing for the rest of my life. Like I didn't want to own a car, but we saved up for it. And like I said, I think people just get this idea in their heads that you have to be rich. But no, I think if you want something bad enough, you can save up the money for it, just like we did. And I think when I first started vlogging about Tesla, I think because there is that stereotype that Tesla owners are super rich. Funny story, the marketing director of famousbirthdays.com sent me an email and said, hey, we're gonna put you on our website because we've been getting all this traffic on our website from people searching for your age, and I guarantee you it's because I look so young and people think that I'm like this young person who drives this really expensive car, and it's like, A, no, it's I'm not rich, and B, I'm not like super young either, so you're wrong on both fronts. But yeah, you know, it has nothing to do with like having tons of money. It really is just saving up for it.
Right, I agree. People do that to me a lot. They think I'm a lot younger. I'm probably the oldest one in the car. I
would have never guessed that.
People, a lot of times will think that I'm a lot younger than I am, so I don't know. We've actually interviewed a bunch of people too that have like put their cars to work for them. Yeah. So they've been able to get their dream car, and you know, maybe they rent it out or they drive, you know, they do different things with it. Yeah. And that is how they're able to finance having their car. So I think you can really get creative, and so many people love these cars that, you know, there's so much to do if you think outside the box. That's the big key there, is like, you know, thinking outside the box of what you could do. Yeah. You know, they say Tesla has like a cult following. So there's people that are just like diehards with Tesla, and you know, you can find a way to finance your dream car if you really want. But like this right here, this is my dream car and my dream configuration, like this one that we're in, and I like. I can't even believe.
Because I guess that's true. You got to configure it however you want to.
Yeah. We like, it's unreal. Like, I think Brian in his latest podcast, he said something about like winning the Roadster, and I kind of feel that same way, where he was like, someone like me should not have a car like this. Like, this should not be a possibility. And I totally can relate with all that, because I feel like, how is this my life? How is this real? Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Like, you know, how has this happened? So I'm just really grateful to all you guys, to all the viewers out there, that everyone that's used our referral code and everything, because that's how it's possible.
Yeah, it wouldn't be possible without you guys. So
yeah,
big shout out to the Tesla community for supporting our videos and just being so interactive and engaging with our content. You know, we really appreciate the love.
So here is another question I have for you guys. So if money was not an object, would you stay with the car you have now, or would you pick a different car? And what would it be?
I get the Roadster, hands down. Like, I know it's probably not the best if you're planning a family, which, you know, is probably our next chapter in life, but I don't care. I really want that Roadster. It's just so badass.
How many referrals are you close?
Not even close, but my husband and I were talking about it, and we're like, we can do this. So I was like, all right, we're gonna do this.
You'll get a good percentage off though, right?
Oh, for sure. We already have like a good percentage off. Nice. So we've been thinking about it. We're like, all right, we might be able to do this, so we'll see.
Okay. And then what about you?
So if I could have any Tesla with an infinite amount of money, I would get a Model 3 because it's just perfect for the city. I would probably get any paint color, because what I'm gonna do is then put on that amazing silver paint job from the Alpha prototype from the reveal night that just looked like brushed silver. I know, your stealth wrap looks amazing.
I love that,
I'd love it as an actual paint surface on the car. And then I'd probably go for all-wheel drive, and I'd definitely keep the autopilot on there. Oh, and then I would use $250,000 from this unlimited money budget, and I would just rent whatever car I wanted, like for a week at a time, the rest of my life.
That makes sense.
That works. I like that.
That's a great idea.
Maybe I'd do that too, actually.
Okay, I like Alexi's plan.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So the Falcon wings are kind of a love-hate for me. With kids, they are a definite favorite feature though. Oh yeah. Because going in and out of the car seat, they're like, you need them. Otherwise it's like threading the needle, especially if you have a kid that's still rear facing. It's so difficult to put them into a regular car. Also, they work like umbrellas, and that's really nice with the rains. Again, they're love-hate. There's times where I feel like they're really flashy and I wish I didn't have them, but
yeah.
for the most part, that's like, I love having them with a family.
Okay, is it weird? Like, I feel like everybody's response would probably be like autopilot. But is it bad to say I actually don't even use it as much as I thought I would?
Oh, wow.
I don't use autopilot.
What about the 5,000-mile road trip?
On road trips, 100%.
Yeah.
But on my regular day-to-day, I don't really find myself using it that
I don't
much.
either, because I drive
For
like,
secondary roads, you don't
use it
really
unless
use
you're on
it.
a road trip. I
Yeah.
feel like I don't use it at all unless I'm on a road trip.
Yeah, I definitely use it on a road trip because it just makes the drive so much easier. But I don't even really think to turn it on when I'm just driving down the road, or going to the grocery store, or going to a shoot.
Yeah.
It just does not even cross my mind to
Right.
switch it on. But I would say randomly, one of my favorite features is I just really love the seats. I love the white seats in the Tesla. I just think it's so different. I think it was my first time actually seeing a car with white seats, and being that I had just gone vegan, I think I was just really, really appreciative of the fact that they were vegan seats. So that really meant the world to me when, I was buying a car. It meant a lot to me knowing that I could buy a car with a vegan interior.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We obviously love the white seats too.
White seats are
so
cool.
we switched out the seats in our 3 that were black to a white because we just love the look.
It just looks like it pops. It's so clean.
It is.
Like it looks hot. Like I love it.
I also feel like it just makes everything look bigger in the car.
And
Like
cleaner.
Which is fun. When I had the black seats, I felt like it showed so much more. Like you would see all the dust and things, and I felt like I had to clean it up
It's
more.
so true. Yeah. Everyone thinks that black hides all the dirt, but really it shows most of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, which we made the mistake in our house of getting like really dark wood floors, and they show everything. So I'm like, I wish I had done a lighter floor, but it's the same with the car.
Yeah.
So I think the white, I agree with that.
And not only are the seats gorgeous, but they're so comfortable, and you can adjust in every direction. I gotta say, so my favorite feature is the boring one, which is autopilot. In really heavy traffic in DC, I use it all the time. And then for long road trips, I love it. So my weak link for road trips has always been my wrists. They get a little sore by the end with all the little steering wheel movements. So I just love being so relaxed in road trips. And then, okay, so if I'm not gonna do autopilot though, I would say my next favorite was kind of a surprise for me. It's the sound system and the voice command for all of the music. So I am constantly saying like, play the best of the 80s, 90s, and today, or play today's hits, or play classical music. And the sound just comes from every direction equally and just enters your ears perfectly. I just love the sound in the Model 3.
So one of the questions I actually have for both of you guys is, what made you want to share your journeys? Like, why did you not just get a Tesla, keep it to yourself? Why did you want to share it with people?
So I think for me, it was a little bit just waiting for the Model 3. I was so excited. I had all this pent-up energy and I wanted to talk to everybody about Tesla. I tried to not overdo it with my family and friends, just sort of scale back based on how interested or not interested they were, and try not to overdo it so they were sick of it. And so I started listening to podcasts, started following the Tesla Twitter community, and then I decided to jump in. Like, I wasn't a Twitter user before that really, and I just loved the community on there and you could learn so much, so I just started contributing and pointing out what I'd learned and learning a ton from people, and then it definitely helped get me through that 2+ year wait for the Model 3.
Yeah, for me, I'm all about representation. Me being, I got my start as a travel blogger, and the very first thing that I noticed when I started travel blogging was there weren't a whole lot of Black travel bloggers out there being recognized for their blogging. So it became really important for me to, represent people who didn't see themselves reflecting in certain types of content. And so when I started, when I got my Tesla, I saw it was the same issue. So there weren't a whole lot of women talking about Tesla, and there weren't a whole lot of people of color talking about Tesla. And so I feel like if you really want to reach those communities, those underrepresented communities like women and people of color, then you need somebody who looks just like those people out there talking about these topics and making this information accessible to other communities that don't necessarily usually get this type of information. So I just think representation is so important. There's a lack of women out there really talking about technology in general, and that's why I love that Kim, you have your YouTube channel, and I love that you are like the Twitter queen. I love that as women we're just out here getting these messages out. So it was very important to me to represent this industry and be a voice for people that don't usually typically see themselves reflected in this type of content. Yeah.
So why do you think, why don't we see more women specifically? That was one of the reasons why I wanted to hang out with you guys and kind of make these videos, is I really wanted to think about how we can inspire more women to be out there.
For sure. Well, when you think about technology and science in general, there's just a lack of women in these fields in general. So I think it starts at a young age, to be quite honest. I mean, look at how we raise our boys versus how we raise our girls. I remember when I was younger going into toy stores, and there was such a stark difference between the boy toy aisle and the girl toy aisle. I feel like with women, when we're girls, we're what I like to call, we get pinkified, right? So we're taught to grow up to be princesses, and we play with Barbies and makeup, and we play dress up, whereas boys, they're taught to be edgy and play with Legos and build things. And the studies have actually shown that there's such a lack of spatial awareness with women. Like our spatial skills are undeveloped in comparison to boys, and that's because what they found is that people who grow up playing with like construction type toys, their spatial skills are a lot more developed. So if you think about the types of toys that we play with when we're younger, it starts when we're kids. So you grow up, as a girl, not really wanting to conquer science and get involved in technology, because your skill set in that particular area is not even being developed from a young age. So it starts with our kids.
Yeah, because if it naturally seems more difficult or harder, you're not going to want to do that as much.
Absolutely. So. And I think people also think that we're just biologically somehow inferior to men when it comes to science and technology and engineering, but that's absolutely not true. It's just, it can be learned, but we're just not in these fields. And then there's also sexism, a lot of sexism in these fields as well. So I don't think there's a whole lot of attraction for women to enter these fields and get involved in technology when they're afraid of how they're going to be treated in the workforce. So it starts with representation. I always like to go back to that. Like, we need more fearless women getting out there and showing that technology is fun, and showing that we are smart. We do have something to say. Our voices matter, and it inspires the youth to aspire to grow up and go into these same fields, and it encourages other women to speak out as well when they see that, hey, we're doing it too. So it empowers other women. So we need more women to get out there and not be afraid to speak up about these topics.
And I think it's really awesome that Tesla now has added its new chairman of the board, Robin Denholm. So we have a woman there, and then with SpaceX, the COO is a woman. So we have Tesla, making steps with that to have a woman out there. So I think that's really awesome to see that as like role models. I did want to bring up that I have noticed on the forums or on different Facebook groups that I think a lot of women are very insecure to post, if they have a question about something, and they're scared of being attacked on there. And I've seen sometimes where they've asked questions that maybe to some people are very obvious, but to them, obviously, they're still wondering, and they get insecure and they do get attacked. And there is obviously now, there's Facebook groups, Tesla Facebook groups, there's Tesla Divas that are for just women out there. But that's something to think about, it's just like, do we treat people differently? And being open-minded to people, and even if they ask a question that maybe you think is obvious, to them it might not be, and making everyone feel comfortable so that we can share these awesome cars with everybody and everybody can learn, because everybody has to start somewhere.
Everybody has to start somewhere. And I think we have this very unconscious bias where it's like automatically when a woman speaks up about a topic that we feel like they don't have a space in, we automatically assume that they don't know what they're talking about, or that the reason why they don't know the answer to this question is because they're a woman. And we have to rethink that. Like, we have to change our thinking and stop being so biased against women whenever we raise our voice in a field or about a topic that is dominated by men. So, you know, we have to be kinder towards women, you know, when women do choose to speak up and ask questions, and we need to empower them to ask these questions so that, you know, they do become knowledgeable about Teslas and, you know, technology and sustainability. We need to be encouraging this conversation, not discouraging them from speaking up.
I do like that Ryan McCaffrey referred to Bonnie Norman as the matriarch of Tesla. I love that.
Yes, and I agree with that. And that's somebody I would love to meet and collab with as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's awesome and so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So if you're out there watching this.
Yes, please reach out. Collaboration is key, right?
Yeah.
You know, the more we come together and we collectively raise our voices about these topics, I think the greater change we can make. We're stronger together.
Yeah.
Right? You know, I think there's a stereotype that women tend to compete versus collaborate, but that's not the case at all. No. I've met some amazing women since I started my content creator influencer career, like you guys, you know, Kim and Alexi, you guys have been amazing and awesome. And I think we definitely need to work together more often to send this message.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I feel like everyone in the Tesla community that I have met so far, it hasn't been a competitive thing at all. No. Everyone's like, just get the word out there, however you're going to do it, spread it, you know, whatever avenue that you like, you know, pick it, do it. And, you know, I've met just awesome people.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The Tesla community is a great community in general. Awesome. Everybody's just been so amazing and nice.
And there's Electric Jen.
Yeah.
She's great. She's been around a long time with a Model S, and
yeah, it's true. I wanted to, before we ended this thing up, I wanted to get some shout outs to some other women in Tesla. Obviously, there's so many more out there, and it's just the start. And hopefully this video will encourage other women to get out there and drive a Tesla. But I have Chelsea Sexton, I wanted to give you a shout out. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Leilani Munter, who, you know, drives Tesla's race car driver. And she is also vegan. So shout out to both you guys. You're awesome. And anybody else want to do some shout outs?
The Facebook page Tesla Divas is an amazing resource. The female Tesla community is actually massive, and you can really see that. It's a women's only Facebook page, and it's called Tesla Divas. And it is so much fun. You just post pictures and share stories, and there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and I definitely want to give a shout out to Dr. Shelley Francis. She actually reached out to me. This is a group that I just discovered. It's called Evie Hybrid Noir, and their whole purpose is to reach more diverse communities about electric cars and introduce, you know, this topic to different communities and different groups of people that don't typically get this information. So I think it's very important to have people like her in this industry and groups like that, you know, really getting that message out there to as many people as possible.
Yes, and if there's anyone else that we are forgetting on this list, put them in the comments below, because everybody deserves a shout out, and you guys are awesome, so thank you.
Yeah, who are your favorite people who blog about Tesla and technology? You know, people who are really bringing this information to light. We want to know.
All right, I think that wraps up our discussion. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything else you'd like to see from videos about this, let us know in the comments below. And thank you guys again so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Bye. Bye. And now, time for coffee.
Yes, coffee break.
Coffee break, yes, because we've been in this car for a while now,
and the 3 o'clock hour, that's when like your circadian rhythms all like, oh, I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
Sleepy, so we need to wake up.
All right. They like know me at this store,
Thank
I
you for
swear.
choosing Starbucks Abbotsford. First, this is Nellie. What can I get started for you?
Can I please get a grande coconut milk latte?
Absolutely. Anything else?
Now, I distinctly remember Kim releasing a video saying why you should never let anybody else drive your Tesla. So this will be interesting.
One, go!
A lot of extra stuff about Model Y. So does
Yeah, I
anyone want
need
to be
to-
the expert on Model Y?
I mean, I can just, if we wanted to talk about, see, that's why I'm like, if we just talk about it for 2 seconds, just because we know that